Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Lammas Symposium. And today I'm here with Priestess of Avalon and Temple Tutor Dawn Kinsella, who is going to talk to us a little bit more about her course, the Sacred Grief Ceremonialist Training, which is happening in October of 2026. Dawn, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Hello, Lisa. Lovely to be with you and all of you on this blisteringly hot day. Wow, it really does feel like Lammas. My name is Dawn Kinsella, and I'm a priestess of Avalon. I graduated through the temple, I think it was 2013. I am a ceremonialist, so ceremonial work really spoke to me when I began my training, and it's taken so many different layers and journeys, and culminated into my greatest love, which is being a guide and a teacher for sacred ceremonial work. Uh, one of which is the sacred celebrant training, teaching about how to conduct rites of passage, hand fastings, because my background is with goddess temple weddings, naming ceremonies, pre-wedding ceremonies, all kinds of lovely ceremonies. And about a couple of years ago, I dived more into grief ceremonial work, which has really taken off now. And happily, Goddess Temple Teachings, the educational wing of the Goddess Temple in Glastonbury, have been interested in my putting this course through the temple, which is quite incredible for me.
Oh, it's been really, really lovely to work with you to bring this to everybody as an offering with the temple. So thank you, Dawn. So can you say a little bit more about your journey to become a priestess?
Wow. Well, that started when I tried to track back when it was. I believe it was probably about the third goddess conference. And I'd gone to Glastonbury for the day with Holly, who I'm with today. My daughter Holly was 33 yesterday. So that goes to show how long it was. I think she was about 4 years old at the time, and we decided to go to Glastonbury for the day. And I saw the final day when the priestesses and everyone that attends the conference had gone up the tour, and they were coming back down the tour. The men were carrying a huge effigy of the goddess and singing and chanting. And Holly and I were sat on the steps of the assembly rooms. Now, I'd gone and explored the assembly rooms with Holly, but there was no one in there.
Mm.
But there were loads of tables set out with all different fabulous kind of crafty things, necklaces, crystals, and but it wasn't that caught my attention. What caught my attention was the artwork. And everywhere, all around the assembly rooms, were women bleeding. Some were of women in the ocean swimming with whales and dolphins, with their menstrual blood flowing freely within the waters. There was another one, I think, which really struck me, of a woman bleeding naked and kneeling on the earth under a tree, gazing at the moon in supplication with her menstrual blood flowing into the earth. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And I remember Holly stood next to me, and she was sucking on her dummy, holding my hands, just looking up. I thought, wow, this is like, I don't know what it is. It's definitely amazing. And then I said to Holly, can you hear that? We could hear singing and chanting, but it sounded quite far away. And she like nodded. And I said, I think it's coming closer. Come on, let's go out and have a look. So we went out onto the assembly room steps, and Holly sat in between my legs, and we knew that whatever it was coming closer, because it was getting louder and louder. And then all of a sudden, Kathy Jones and the priestesses and this big effigy of the goddess came into view for at the entrance of the alleyway. And of course, what were they greeted with? A woman sat on the steps with a small child in between her
Mm.
legs, and they went crazy. They
Mm.
they kind of scooped us up into the assembly rooms, and then they did the men were twirling the goddess around in a circle, and everyone was chanting and drumming, and they were really honouring me and Holly. Obviously,
How wonderful.
it must have been like serendipitous, I suppose, for them to see a woman and a small child sat there. And I thought, this is incredible. But I didn't do anything about it. There wasn't really internet as we know it back then. It wasn't as
Mm.
freely available. But years and years and years later, when I was in my 49th year, I wanted to do as many awesome things as I could possibly squash into my last year before I reached my Chiron return. And then the internet was around, and I looked it up and I thought, gosh, that's that lot. Right, I'm
Yeah,
going to do that. And I signed up for the training, and it changed my life.
fantastic. Fantastic.
Changed my
What,
life completely.
what a wonderful story, and what a wonderful journey you've taken to today. So, talking about today, can you tell us a little bit more about your offering, the Sacred Grief Ceremonialist Training?
Well, Lisa, that's been a very interesting journey. Grief is now an industry, which is not a bad thing because there are so many offerings and alternative paths for people to take that are going through a grief so that they can grieve well. You
Mm,
understand?
totally.
Grief has, oh yeah, grief has never been able to be fully expressed. The only thing that was available to people grieving was a grief counsellor, and a lot of people don't really want to go down that path. There's some kind of stigma around counselling. There shouldn't be,
Mm,
but there is. Well, now there are so many different ways for people to experience grief. There's a Sacred Death Centre in Glastonbury
there
offering
is.
amazing treatments and ceremonies, etc. Now, I've been teaching something called the Passing Over Ceremony since 2017. And that is a combination of ceremony, but held in a very grounded and professional way with proper client consultation, client care, all of the contraindications covered as much as I possibly can. And it's provided incredible results. So I took that, and this time I have created an entire training with other ceremonial and client care and consultation content within it. And that's now a 5 days intensive with unlimited graduate care, by the way. What was amazing was other training providers are very interested in this now. So I teach at Cranfield Uni, professional.
Amazing.
Yeah, I teach spiritual funerals, which is also going to be on offer quite soon, as well as the grief and bereavement programs. So it's just gone and exploded, really, because there's a need for it. How can we grieve well?
Mm,
How can we do that? And I always start my classes with the same thing. There's two universal questions every culture on the planet asks: what is the meaning of life?
yeah.
Why are we here? And what happens when we die? It's not that there is an answer for this. It's so that we can all begin to explore, well, what's your take on it? What is the
Yeah.
meaning of your life here? How do you see that? What are we here for? And what do you feel or think or sense that happens when we leave this physical body? What are we? And that takes us on a whole journey so that we can come out of this with the correct training to hold people, hold the door open for them, really, so that they can experience their grief in a healthy way. Because if they don't, it internalizes and they
Mm,
hold on to it for years and years and years, and it can turn into so many unhealthy things such as depression, permanent low mood, just so many layers of unhealthy living, like mindfully. So the way that it's gone now and that it's grown is grieving around child death. How are the parents able to move through this? It's not a cure. It's healthy to grieve, and it's healthy to grieve in a way that the people who are in their deep grief can move forward and not stay stuck in it. So that's where it's all going. And there seems to be a big interest in this now, which I'm really, really happy to provide good training for that.
Thank you. And you have accreditation, don't you, for your course? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's IPHM, so it's the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine, which is a world-renowned accreditation body. And also I'm NOCN endorsed, and I teach at Cranfield University with civil ceremonies, which is the biggest training college for funeral celebrants and wedding celebrants in the UK. So NOCN endorsed, that was a very important step when it comes to accreditation. It's the National Open College Network. So they endorse NVQ, level 3s and level 4s, etc. Now, I've been working for years to try and get this because it is the bridge between very formal training and the spiritual discipline. And to put that together has taken me a few years to do. And I did that with the support of Civil Ceremonies UK, who are the biggest training college in the UK. So funeral celebrants, funeral directors, they come to my training courses to learn how to conduct spiritual funerals, and some grief and bereavement work also to add it to their portfolio. And they're doing very well. So this is very exciting, Lisa, to bridge these two different schools of thought, but are serving the community in the same way, gives the population more choice. How would you like your beloved to have their funeral? How would you feel to say goodbye, to honour the life that they had? Well, there's a choice here now.
Absolutely, it's so important.
Yeah, it is. It's it's the way forward to not try and replace something, but to infuse one with the other, a little bit like the right and left hemispheres of the brain.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's that kind of feeling. Let's put them together so that they're both balanced. And then everybody has a choice what they would like from their celebrant. And the results that I'm seeing are incredible. So there's one funeral celebrant from the workshops at Cranfield Uni. He's an ex-policeman, and he took the spiritual funerals, and he said, I'm about to do my first one. He said, I am so excited to do this. And this is someone who's been in the business for a long time and is very sort of almost corporate, formal. This is exciting, and they're so hungry for it. Like, wow, what a thing to put these two different disciplines together to form a complete and wonderful whole.
So, Dawn, can you just talk a little bit about what students have gone on to do when they graduate?
Oh, yes, it's very exciting. So the students have gone on to have excellent careers in conducting sacred rites of passage. Now, weddings are very popular, especially the hand fastings, and they've gone on to do great things. And not only that, to create their own ceremonies, normally centered around the 4 elements of nature, and they hold retreats as well as doing ceremonial work. So I was on the phone to someone this morning who's doing a beautiful hand fasting ceremony, and he's really made up about this, and this is his career. This is what people do. So it's with the grief and bereavement work, this goes even deeper still, and this is vocational. And, the way that I feel about this, the hand fastings and naming ceremonies, that's also vocational work. And it's why the client consultation and client care and professionalism and how to handle a business, if anybody needs that kind of advice, is so important, because that's the structure, that's the central core that holds everything else together, that stops these ceremonies from growing its own legs and running out of control. So the spiritual funerals is very structured, and it's all about client consultation, what happens at a crematorium, how to connect with funeral directors, etc., and then into the more spiritual aspect of how to hold the ceremony. The grief and bereavement work, again, is deeply vocational. And I spoke to Lisa about this a few days ago, that there is going to be an advanced training after that, which is about hypnosis for grief and bereavement, which I'm just finished writing the protocol up about that now.
Fantastic.
Because the professionalism is so important here.
It's
important that clients feel safe. That's basically what happened here. So I got a lot of advice, a lot of business advice from highly experienced people, how to do that, how to set that about. Yeah. So our graduates come out raring to go, and they are, your slick, sacred professional.
fantastic. I love that. That sounds really good. It's been a really interesting chat about such an important area of our lives. And, grief and bereavement affects all of us at some time or other. So thank you for talking to me today. And let us know, when is the course running, Dawn, in Glastonbury? Tell everybody.
Oh, is it? I haven't got it in front of me. I do believe it's the 26th of October, beginning of, and it runs 26, 27, 28, 29. I might be wrong though, but it's if you listen everyone, look on Goddess Temple Teachings website. There's loads of wonderful courses, and mine's on there also. But I think it is the 26th of October.
You're correct. It's the 26th to the 30th of October 2026.
So it'd be lovely. We are almost full, but there's a couple of places left. So
thank you so much for talking to us, Dawn.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. Blessings.
Bye.